What's up, Ben?
It's an intense week. It feels like we've done a lot. We've pushed out
Yeah, we got some more stuff out. How are you feeling at the end of, close to the end of another week?
Exhausted, but also good because we closed our report season for the SportsTech X, our business side of things. And now we can move on to other topics, exciting topics actually. So it's a mix of both. I probably need the weekend to relax a bit, and then next week onwards, we're gonna push things a bit.
Speaking of relaxing weekends, how was Easter break? Did you get up to anything interesting?
Yeah, I was biking in Berlin. I went to.
Oh yeah, you told me. Yeah.
Yeah, and funny thing is, I'm using a bike that is about 20 years old. It's from one of my best friends. He gave it to me because he's not using it anymore. And I've realized that when biking or cycling through the forest, I think I would need a different bike because I basically felt every stone and everything. So I'm looking into maybe buying a new bike. That is news of the week.
I've seen some guys in Berlin ride bikes with like tires which are like at least 40 mm, 16R or something. Like those are big tires, bigger than like almost like off-road dirt bike kind of tires. I think those should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, Berlin, everybody tries to do something out of the ordinary, something special. I always think it looks a bit odd, but just my opinion. But would be interesting.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing with that bike? Like, where are you going with a tire like that? Okay. Anyway, that's that. All right, what have we got in store for this week?
As always, I want to bring up this fabulous graphic, which tells the listener or follower that we are going to speak about the top 5 sports tech news of the week, same format as every week, which is going to be followed by a quick info on our review video from last week and a +1 that always adds a little bit of flavor to this show at the end, right?
Yep, let's do it.
Cool. And I believe it is me who is starting with topic number 1, if I'm not mistaken. Let me quickly bring that up. Boom. We are talking about 2 big deals that happened in the fitness industry. I don't want to go into the details of who spent that money, why they spent the money. I just wanted to let you guys out there know that a lot of money went into Tonal and Tempo. If you work in the sports, and especially in the sports tech industry, these are names that you very likely have come across already. But we want to take the chance, because of those 2 investments happening, to have a quick look onto those products actually, because they're not only pretty but also very promising ones. So let's quickly jump into the websites and compare them a little bit. Here you see Tonal. They have a beautiful video which basically explains everything. I don't have to say much even. So it is a at-home gym. And most people, if think about working out at home, the first thing they think about is getting a fancy Peloton. We just wanted to let you know there are alternatives out there. So Tonal is a smart at-home gym. And if we go a little bit down here, you see what you can do with it. As far as I understood, it does not come with a camera, so you're not tracked what you're doing, but the exercises that are offered by Tonal are tracked by the way you actually work out. So there are those handles, there are those weights which are connected to the device, and by using this, then you basically get the feedback from the machine. If you look onto pricing, it's very similar to what Peloton is offering. So you have to pay a hefty price to get the product. And on top, you also have to pay for a membership, which is currently $49 a month with a minimum of a 12-month commitment. So again, same as Peloton, pricey thing, but definitely looks interesting. If you are more into, let's say, the optical tracking, that you want to get tracked by a camera while you're working out with weights that are not attached to the machine, then maybe Tempo is something for you. It's called the Tempo Studio. It's an online, it's an at-home gym with, of course, coaches, trainings, workouts, and those weights come with it as well. And the special thing about it is that it has this tracking function as well. From the pricing, pretty much the same as Tonal. Again, you have to pay around $2,000-3,000 US, and then also you would jump on a monthly membership with a subscription fee. This is all we have to say about Tonal and Tempo. Basically, just letting you guys know they got a lot of funding. They're legit products. They are competitors for Peloton for at-home fitness. And I would love to get one of them to test them. Ron, what do you think? Which one would you go for?
Good question. Happy to test both. I think Tonal probably, just because I don't know, it seems a bit fun, but to test, I really like them both. Now, I think, as you said, the main reason for highlighting them was because we've talked a lot about Peloton and how big that segment is, and there are clearly on the strength training side, which is a big part of most gym goers' experience. These are interesting, good innovations for people who use weights in their training. So
how do you see the difference in optical versus let's say physical tracking?
I mean, I think the best solutions we've seen are do a combination of both, which have a sensor and an optical layer, because I think that one without the other is not creating a complete picture of what the athlete or what the body of the athlete who's doing the fitness or doing whatever activity is actually undergoing. The sensors add more accuracy of data, and the camera adds more form-related data. So I always like a combination of both. If I really had to pick one, I would probably pick the camera. I think the camera adds more information potentially than just a sensor. If I had to go that direction, I'd pick the camera. There's more that you can do. You can create video content, which is also a big thing. There's a lot you can do with video content. But it's always a combination that works best.
I think out of the two, I would rather pick Tonal, even though I agree on what you said, because I would think as a super amateur, I would feel safer with those handlebars attached to the machine, so I would be safer in what I'm doing. Here you have to do with Tempo, you have to do the free lifting, so to speak.
But I mean, this is more for more experienced weight trainers, I guess.
Exactly. So coming to topic number 4, that is yours, right?
Yeah, it is. All right, and we're going to talk about something happening in the rugby space. It's not a sport we talk a lot about, but this topic we do talk a lot about, which is concussion management. And it seems to be that there has been quite a few announcements just in the last week. We saw news of a study by the University of Birmingham, which is working along with the Rugby Football Union. People who are familiar with British rugby might have heard these names, but they are looking to find ways to diagnose concussion using saliva, which is a non-invasive clinical test. That's an interesting direction. Basically, the idea of using biomarkers to identify concussion. This one particularly, it seems a bit bigger because it is World Rugby who are involved. Really interesting that they are working with to basically improve player welfare. Their goal is to work with a couple of companies called iGuide and Neuroflex. I mean, this is just an idea of what this kind of stuff looks like. But the core idea is that using eye movement, they're basically tracking the eye movement to identify whether somebody has been concussed or not. And they can get this data within just 10 seconds. So it's a really quick diagnosis. So if anybody's had a heavy impact injury, which of course in high contact sports like rugby can happen very often, in just 10 seconds, you can get in early indicators of whether somebody is concussed or not. Really powerful, especially given how seriously concussion is being taken in the world of sport. I mean, one story I can easily just comes to me at the top of my mind is a football story with Loris Karius, who famously in the Champions League final for Liverpool against Real Madrid was a disaster, and like, man, what happened to that guy who had a decent season? And turns out after the game that he had a small incident before the game, and he was showing signs of mild concussion. So even the pass, if you remembers, where he tried to roll the ball and Karim Benzema stuck his foot out and the ball kind of ricocheted into the goal, that was potentially a product of Karius being concussed, mildly concussed at the time. And they didn't have the biomarkers, or they didn't have the information to diagnose him, and that cost not only a Liverpool Champions League final, it cost the poor guy his career almost. It seems like he hasn't been able to recover from that. So the idea of concussion training, concussion management is really, really big. And I think this is a good direction, a good step in that direction. Last one, World Rugby is also partnering with New Zealand Rugby and a company called Prevent Biometrics to do head impact study, again using mouth guards. So a lot of activity in the space, which we've seen in just the last couple of weeks. Good work, Ben. Jump in. I think all steps in the right direction, no?
Absolutely. I mean, like the first thing what you always do when a player gets injured and the head is impacted, and then you see the doctor running towards that player and looking him or her into the eyes, right, to see what is happening there. And I assume that can be not easily, but can be tracked with the help of tech. So yeah, that's a good step forward, I think. And
yeah, the eye test in 10 seconds, I think that's the one for me. I mean, if you can actually get something that quick, that's a good indicator.
Yeah, it's one of the obvious ones where tech can help, I think.
Yep.
We're not going to test that one, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, we could just, no?
Or not. Not me. Yeah. Maybe we should get the device in case something happens during one of our shootings, and then we can act quickly, right? So just in case.
Good shout.
Whatever. Okay, coming to topic number 3. That is actually one I really like. When you see this news, it looks a bit unspectacular, but I think there's a lot of content actually behind it, not a nice story behind. It is the news that both the NHL and also the PGA have signed an agreement with a startup called Buffer. And what Buffer does, I think that is the interesting thing. And to explain it to you in the easiest way possible, I'm going to show you some other content. Maybe you can see it well here. So what Buzzer is basically tailored to the modern young fan, a fan that has lots of channels he or she is on. Attention span is allegedly not so high, and he or she is very much focused on the highlights, like the special sauce, the special things that are happening during a game. He or she is rather not interested in watching a 90-minute game of football, right? So what Buzzer does, it basically gives a user the option to tune into a game with a form of micro payment and then just watching a few seconds of the game, which are the highlights. So it's a way for a newer generation, a younger generation, to still consume the highlights without having the need of to watch the entire game. So let's imagine this. There is at the moment there's this Champions League game going on. I believe there are some games next week again. And let's say somebody scores in the game Liverpool against Real Madrid. What you would then get is a push notification to your phone. There was a goal during that game. And then it gives you the option through a micro payment, and it could be, I don't know, $1, $2, to watch the game right after it happened. So you get the chance to tune in and be up to date on the most important scenes and happenings. And this obviously is a completely new way of consuming content, and also obviously for the clubs, leagues, and teams potentially a revenue stream. So content form very much tailored to a young generation of fans who are anyways just focused on the highlights of a game. Something that I find really interesting. I'm curious how the deal is going to unfold for the NHL and the PGA in the upcoming season. They're gonna go live with that sometime soon. And then I'm also curious if other leagues are gonna offer the same thing. It's probably a bit tricky to negotiate everything with the rights holders, because I mean, I don't know, if this is too successful, maybe nobody will subscribe to the monthly subscriptions anymore. I don't know, but I find it really, really interesting, and I can totally see myself paying like $1 here, $1 there, just to see some interesting goals. Ron, you're a big time Man United fan. If somebody would score in the 85th minute from your team and you desperately wanna see that goal, would you pay $1 for it?
Yeah, I would. It happens all the time. Maybe not for games, United games, because I'm usually watching them live. But sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm traveling. Sometimes I'm, or my girlfriend is holding a gun to my head that we have to do something else, and I'm not allowed to watch the game. No, she's all right. But no, I think it's a useful tool. I like the interaction of live. It seems like a super small figure as well. Yeah, I do that. I like buzzer. I mean, and they were mentioned in our North American report as well. So other people like them.
Yeah, true. All right, on to the next topic.
On to the next one, and this is about La Liga. I have to say, I have to give props to the innovation team at La Liga. I mean, we know them well. They've been featured in our reports and stuff. But La Liga has always been a leader for a good period of time now, for the last 3-4 years. I think the Premier League did a fantastic job in the 90s and the early 2000s of establishing their brand. And La Liga has certainly caught up well. And one of the reasons they've managed to do that is they do things like this. La Liga is now going to be the first European football league to stream live matches on Twitch. They're doing that this weekend. The Basque Derby, Bilbao versus Sociedad, which is a great game. I've actually been fortunate enough to watch the game at San Mames in Bilbao. This one is in Sociedad. But it's great aspect because we're a local derby, and it's initiatives like this that La Liga has been good of. They were the first European league to have a Twitch account, and a bunch of others have a following on Twitch now. And now they're pushing to actually stream live. They're also doing it in partnership with 2 other local broadcasters or local streaming companies. So the same feed will go out to 3 companies, Twitch being the primary, but the other 2 are smaller Spanish agencies. Yeah, not too much more to the story. Ben, you can jump back in, but I think it's just another display of cool innovation and steps in the right direction. More football leagues teams will be on Twitch soon.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen sports that have done it. Seems like it's been a success. I think it's not innovative from a tech side, because I think you just have to say, okay, we're streaming it there. But being so open-minded and saying, hey, we are trying to get the interest or attention of a different audience, that is a good way. And then ultimately it's coming down to, is it always going to be on multiple platforms? Is that going to be the only platform? I think there are lots of questions down the road, because they cannot always show everything for free on Twitch, right?
Yeah, of course. And I think they'll build in their monetization models. It's just that they started with a good game, and they'll keep working towards it. All right, let me quickly load up the top story of the day, and this, I have to say, is one that I really enjoyed. It's about Kevin De Bruyne negotiating his new mega deal with Man City, which I believe it says the figures are somewhere down here. I'm a fan of the Athletic, if you don't know already. But yeah, he's going to be earning somewhere around 230,000, go up towards 300,000, a 10 million signing fee, blah blah blah. Of course, Kevin De Bruyne is a crucial player. Fantastic star. If anybody watched the Champions League games against Dortmund, he carries the ball. It's incredible. And you must be wondering, why are we talking about this on our weekly show? I mean, we don't talk about deals, we don't talk about sports rights, but the answer is in the headline. Kevin De Bruyne negotiated this mega contract a 5-year contract, mind you, so it wasn't a small one, and he's 29. This is probably the last big contract of his career. Did it without any agents. Did it purely using, he hired a data analytics team to do two things: to evaluate his performance for Manchester City over the period of time, and number two, evaluate Man City as a team and the likelihood of them actually building a team for him that could win a Champions League in the next couple of seasons. So two things. First, he did all of this on his own without an agent. It was him and his father. Number one. Number two, he also apparently already had an offer from Man City. So Man City came in to him because his contract was due for negotiation, made him an offer that he worked out with his business team that, yeah, it's not a great offer. Or he wasn't happy with it. In fact, he says, the article says that he would have, along with all bonuses in that, might have actually ended up earning less in the last few years of his contract than he was earning presently. Unacceptable to him. Did not panic. Did not go and get Pini Zahavi or Mina Raiola or any of these Jorge Mendes or any of these hotshot agents to now come in and handle his deal. Nope. He went and did it himself using data, which I think is a really interesting trend because he built a business case for himself and Man City was like, yeah, makes sense. And they can't refute it. Put the contract on the table in front of him, and now, of course, he's on a contract that he's happy with. Number one. Number two, this is another example of players kind of taking control in their own hands and negotiating contracts and negotiating transfers for themselves. I think we spoke about this on a podcast many episodes ago, not on this show, but in one of our other content channels, about Memphis Depay being the first player who recruited a data analytics agency to find his next team for him. That's how he moved from Manchester United to Lyon. Sky Sports, which is a Dutch company, great company that we love. Memphis Depay used analytics to scout a team for him. Think about that, a player really owning data analytics and understanding the power of it. This is another great example of that same principle, a player owning and understanding data analytics and using them in his favor. A trend that I find maybe not too many players will do, but Ben, I mean, yeah, do you think that we're going to see a lot of this? Or maybe these are just one-off fantastic ideas, which now agents will start doing themselves?
Yeah, exactly what you said at the end. First of all, I love the idea. That is great. It's a great example and it works, obviously. Secondly, I mean, there's anyways a lot of heat or lots of emotion in that discussion of players, agents earning too much, being too greedy, being sharks and all that, right? And in those times when clubs don't have to spend too much money, I think it's a good way to actually come back to the facts and say, hey, this is what I'm worth for the club. This is what I should earn. Like, this sounds a bit, I mean, I've never been in any negotiation but of that kind, but it sounds to me like a fair, fact-based approach, which takes out a lot of the emotions potentially. I think, yeah, next steps would be interesting. I mean, if I would be a player's agent, I would be like, okay, I have to make sure that I have this kind of tool or software, and then I would potentially offer it to multiple clients, because this would also means that I, as an agent, can maybe use that for more clients than I was able to do before. If that automates some of my work, and I probably only have so many hours per week, right? So I think maybe now also players' agents are developing into some sort of tech company, if you might want to say, and offer that to their clients. I don't know, just a guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think my initial thought is I think it's probably the other way around. I'm sure, because I'm sure the agents were using, and they have a lot of recruiting scouting tools where they have a lot of this data. It's probably the players. This is a good example of a player realizing that agent is probably using a lot of the tools that we use in our gameplay and for other purposes, not for contracts. And I understand the output of it probably better than any agent can, because I'm the footballer. And maybe if I just cut out the middleman, use the same data for my benefit. Yeah, I mean, because I'm sure that agents, at least at the highest level, are using a lot of the tools. Interesting one. I don't know. I don't know which direction this will go in. I just hope there are more cases like this, and you don't have stories of agents trying to find their club, find their player a new deal every summer, which is getting beyond annoying.
Maybe it's another case of software is eating the world, and tech companies are replacing the agents there. Who knows?
And if Sanvi should be replaced, I wouldn't mind agent being replaced. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some football managers out there who would agree on what you just said.
Probably.
Sweet. Coming from being an observer of the sports market back to more being an active element, coming to the tech that we have tested over the last weeks and month, actually. So we are gonna speak about the following. Ron and I, like I said,
we did all this nonsense.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
roll.
I should turn off the volume. One sec. So yeah, he and I were testing over the course of, I don't know, half a year, I think, different solutions on our YouTube channel, as you probably know. And 6 of them happened to be in the fitness space. There were 3 physical products to upgrade your training. There was 1 optical solution, and there were 2 yoga solutions. And all of that we put into 1 video, even though you can do the deep dive on each of the solutions. And yeah, we had a good time looking back on all of that. So there was Straffer, the smart resistance bands. I look very serious. Oh no, I'm laughing now. Then secondly, we were looking at A-champs, those pods, as you can see here, and they really get you going and animate you to do different workouts. They were really good as well. And the third one, oh, that was a good one, was Jabai. As you can see, Ron and I were having a little fight here. That was a good time. So it's a friendly boxing game that we enjoyed very much. And then we had one that was an optical solution that was FitCam. So there you only would need your phone, and the phone tracks what you're doing after it having suggested you some workout. And I also like the blur mode here if you want to stay on the private side of things. And there were two yoga solutions that Ron tested. There was number 1, skill yoga, coming with some exercises for whoever wants to do a nice yoga workout, tailored towards the athletes out there, so people who anyways do sports, who want to add some other form of exercise to their routine. And last but not least, there was Yoga Notch, which is a physical product that Ron was attaching to his body. Let me see where that is. Yeah, here, and doing the workouts that were suggested by Yoga Notch. And then he would get some audio feedback and some analysis after the workout, all in order to make him become a better yogi. Yeah, these were the 6 solutions that we tested. Somehow I have the feeling that I forgot one. I hope I didn't. Ron, if I did, just let me know.
No, I think that was it. No, I think that was a really great time. I mean, my favorite, I have to say, were the yoga solutions, just because I've been recently introduced to yoga and I've been quite enjoying doing it. Yoga Notch especially was a great way to get feedback about whatever yoga you do. Skill yoga as well, but as a one-on-one, I think it has to be Jabai or Jabai. I keep saying this wrong.
Who knows?
Yeah, but I mean, that the whole competition element and the whole Street Fighter thing, that was super fun as well.
I agree. Sweet. Then we are coming to our +1 topic of the week, which is always sort of a...
yeah, this is a fun story. Okay, I'm going to knock back with this one.
We're coming back to my favorite topics, which is the NFT topic, non-fungible tokens. Not diving into what it actually means, but let me tell you this story. So there was there is this professional tennis player, and she actually did something very interesting here. Here's the description. So she offered an NFT, and whoever would buy this NFT would get a lifetime right, yes, I said lifetime, the entire life, to put something on her right arm and shoulder. So she put that NFT on the OpenSea platform. You were able to bid for it, and there was a person who won that right for 3 Ether, which at that time was around, I think, $5,000 US. So he or she owned the right to actually put something on her arm, which we found really interesting. And a few more details on that. So she, her name by the way is Olinikova. She says, okay, you can put a temporary tattoo there, but you can also put one of those removable ones there. And she would charge for every removal of a tattoo in case you say, hey, I want to put something else there. Or, and that is also an option, you can also sell that right, because it's connected to this NFT, to someone else, ideally, of course, for a higher price, or you can just leave it blank. So you, as the owner, you have several rights to do whatever you want to do with that arm. With a few exceptions, of course, you cannot put anything extreme there, no racist comments, no betting advertising, because that is forbidden on the tour. And at the moment, I think she's around a position, let me see, I think 600 something in the WTA tour. So there's still room for improvement for her. She's, I think, 20 years old now. So in case she will ever make it to, let's say, top 50, top 10, even higher, I think that would have been a really nice, nice purchase there. And if we go on the actual OpenSea page, you will see that at some point there was the account Jump High, who actually acquired it for 3 Ether. And then later there was even an offer of 5 Ether, which expired 5 days ago. So it seems like other people have seen the value of this purchase and are already trying to acquire that. And yeah, she says she doesn't know how this is going to work out, if somebody's going to use it properly, if it's going to get resold at some point, but she'll always be the first one. So she's convinced that she has actually written sports and NFT history. And the interesting thing is that you have to know about NFTs. Whenever it gets resold, she gets a part of that amount. So the thing is, the better she plays, the more she's probably going to benefit in the future if the owner of that NFT decides to actually sell it at some point. Ron, if I would, let's say, give you 1 Ether for a spot on your arm or something, would you accept?
No, because I know what you would probably put on it would be some nonsense that I don't want on there at all, which is, I mean, this 20-year-old girl who's literally selling space on. Yeah. I wasn't sure if I wanted to finish that sentence. But no, I mean, it's an interesting way to monetize. It's also an interesting way to get a social media following. As you said, I think she's a young, rising tennis star, ranked 300-ish in the world. Maybe she makes it, maybe she doesn't at the elite level and actually breaks through and into higher ranks and wins tournaments. But she certainly will have people after her and knowing her, and this is the kind of stuff that will set her up for the rest of her career. Even if she never sells another inch on her arm, but she'll find other ways to monetize. It's an interesting move. To be a first or a pioneer of anything has only that much value, as long as you execute properly after that, which, well, best of luck to her.
Yeah, she definitely got the attention, which is already with money these days, right?
Yeah. I guess that's what she was going for.
And as a very last announcement or topic on this show, one more thing, because we've been talking about NFTs so much over the course of the last weeks. Actually, I should have edited this link here. Let me quickly do that. Yeah, we are launching a new platform because we are so into this topic of NFTs, and we're seeing so much in that space, and especially I could talk about it basically every episode multiple times, and for a long time we said, hey, we should come up with an own platform for everything around NFTs in sports. This is why we created Nifty Sports, and you can see our content at niftysports.co, where we're trying to keep you up to date on everything that is happening in that area, and aiming to be the single source of information for you. So I don't know, this week alone, I've seen, 10 different announcements in the NFT space, and it's hard to track all of them. We're trying to do so. We're trying to bring it all to you. Subscribe to the newsletter. We'll give you a weekly review of what's happening, and we're pushing everything that we come across on our social channels, which are also Nifty Sports CO on Twitter and Instagram. So if you want to make sure to stay up to date on all things NFTs and sports, this is the place to be. Ron.
Sounds exciting. Looking forward to seeing what other NFT news comes up every week.
Yes, if you do decide to sell part of your arm as an NFT, I would immediately put it on the platform.
Let's do it. Let's send out that newsletter. Let's see how much money we'll get for it. Maybe then we can talk.
Great. That is it for this week in the world of sports tech and a bit of NFT, right?
Yep. All right, guys. See you next week. Ciao.